virus outbreak thing. So I've been working on a couple of other projects while I wait for everything to reopen up so I can actually finish. But at least for this video, I'm going to show you how it went from just a plain guard to the finished handle, finished everything just about, other than doing some hand sanding on the blade and doing our runes. But that'll be the next video along with the scabbard. But for now, this is probably going to be a little bit of a longer video. Got a lot of recording done, but also a lot of work to get here to begin with. So sit back and enjoy, y'all. It's going to be really cool to watch. And here we go. Alright, so I'm going to start off here by tracing around the blade and the guard, just to get a decent layout and figure out how much actual room I need. So the video showed, I mean, it's only a minute or two, but this whole design actually took me about like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, just trying to get everything measured out, get it all even, perfect, well, perfect, quote unquote, but took a decent amount of time to actually do all this, and I don't recommend going into any project rush without actually planning anything out. It usually turns out bad, so it was well worth the time. So we go for slow, careful measurements just to get exact fit, and it all turned out, I say, pretty well. It doesn't actually slide all the way up, it stops right where it needs to. So the first barrel's done, now we're moving on to the first block of handle. So I ended up not actually putting in the drilling of any of these holes, because, I mean, you're talking about like 5, 6, 7 minutes at a time for one hole. So I figured it'd be a lot easier to just skip over all that. So this is the first part of the handle that's actually getting leather wrapped. So I actually just made it out of 2/2. I figured it'd be a lot easier that way. So just did a little outline, then come back with the chisel and the hacksaw, lay down my lines, throwing it all out, glue it all together, and move on from there. So this was one of the funnest parts of this whole build. I actually hadn't been able to forge in quite a bit, so forging out the rough shape of the pommel at least was a nice little change from all the precise measuring, cutting, and filing, and the repetition, and so on. Consequently, actually getting the pommel to shape was my least favorite part of this whole build. It took so many hours just because I'm using hand tools. It was ridiculous. And here, just to get a really great fit, I just decided to hot fit the pommel just like I did with the guard itself. Just to, only have to go on one way, super tight, doesn't rattle, none of that. Now I'm just doing the layout for the spiral cuts and grooves on the handle itself. It's really simple. It's just a series of 8 lines and then connect them sideways. But you have to get your measurements right. Any slight variation is very easy to spot. And this begins the slow, tedious process of laying in my lines and using little diamond files to slowly cut them in, trying not to slip up or anything and ruin the wood. Now going back in with a round file is where it actually starts to get that spiraled effect. It, same thing as before, you know, slow work, but if done right, makes amazing, amazing results. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and run it through all the grids up to, I think I went to 1200, just to get a really smooth finish on it. At this point, I just went ahead and rounded off the rest of the handle parts and started getting everything together just to expedite the video a little bit. So before I started cutting up this leather, which was actually really expensive, more than I thought it would be, I made a small little pattern out of paper just to get a rough idea of what I'm doing, and just traced it out, cut it out with a razor blade. So after shaping all the ferrules, I'm going back to actually color them in the same color as the guard, and the pommel will eventually also be. So I just use heat anodizing and some cold blue in solution just to get that really dark but speckled pattern on them. So at this point, most of the handle is actually done. I just have to go back and actually shape the rest of the pommel and make it look more than like a block of steel. And that's the worst part of this whole build. So this is actually one of the few times that I didn't use hand tools. I actually used the Dremel and some carbide cutters to get the rest of the shape of the head. I did use files and chisels and all that to get the rough shape, but to get those fine details, it would just be a little bit easier and more time conscientious to use that Dremel. So I actually got Danny here modeling the sword for me so I can get a really good shot of the whole thing. But this thing is massive. I mean, it's literally 4 feet long. Danny size. And yeah, like the whole thing's done for now at least, until this whole thing blows over and I can get it silver plated. But I mean, it's awesome. Next video though, we're gonna come back and do the runes up the blade right here. Got a little special surprise, and I think it's kind of funny. Danny knows what it is. But it's gonna be really cool, guys. So until next time, stay creative.